it's music and it's opinion based, but, some things, I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
Y'all, so it looks like the conspiracy theories are true about how Beyonce is being deliberately held back by the Grammys, and y'all are not going to believe the wild things that the streets are now talking about. But y'all, it's not just empty talk, because some new insider information has come to light about Beyonce being blackballed by the Grammys, and they're deliberately keeping her from winning some of the biggest awards while giving her some of the smaller awards to keep her fans pacified. Y'all, we gonna get right into it because the tea is piping hot, and you gonna hold on to your edges because the people have been doing Queen Bey dirty for years. But is this what Kanye was warning us about? I'ma let y'all finish, but we finna get into this tea.
Flawless Beyonce video, and Beck needs to respect artistry, and he should have given his award to Beyonce.
So the 2024 Grammys have come and gone, but Beyonce is still trending on social media. She has been trending so hard that you think that she was one of the biggest winners at the Grammys. But no, she wasn't even nominated, so she wasn't there to win. In fact, the only reason she was even at the event was that she was supporting her husband Jay-Z, who was being honored with the Global Impact Award. But the real reason she's been trending on social media is that Jay-Z took a stand for her and dragged the Grammys for being intentionally biased towards her and not even giving her the recognition that she deserves. Now, Beyonce has already won 32 Grammys, and she is both the most nominated person at the Grammys as well as the artist with the most Grammy wins in history, but she still hasn't won the #1 award, which is Album of the Year. Now, winning a Grammy is a really big deal, but there are some Grammys that are just more superior than others, and those are referred to as the Big Four. Those are Song of the Year, Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Best New Artist. Of those four, Album of the Year is considered to be the Grammy of all Grammys, and it's the most prestigious of all the Grammy Awards. That's why it's always the last award at the Grammys. Well, if Beyonce is the biggest winner of the Grammys ever, you'd expect for her to have at least won one, right? Well, no. See, more than 20 years ago after she went solo, she has never won the Grammy of the Album of the Year, and even though she has been nominated 4 times. In fact, she's only won one of the big 4 categories, which was Song of the Year for Single Ladies, which was back in 2009. Now, can you imagine that the Beyonce not having a Grammy for Record of the Year? The Beehive has called out the Grammys for being insulting towards Beyonce by deliberately robbing her of this award, and some say that they did it to keep her in her place. Well, as it turns out, her man Jay-Z is just as salty over this as the Beehive, because while he received his Global Impact Award, he decided to speak up for his wife, pointing out how ridiculous it was that she never won Album of the Year.
It's music and it's opinion based, but, some things, I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
Now, Beyonce wasn't nominated this year, but she was nominated in the past for albums like I Am Sasha Fierce, Beyonce, Lemonade, and Renaissance. And fans felt like she should have won with Lemonade and Renaissance, but she was robbed of the award. When she lost last year, there was chaos in the streets, and the Beehive dragged the Academy for days. The album Renaissance dropped in 2022 and totally killed, selling a whopping 332,000 copies in its first week. Now, before anybody starts saying it only did well because of the Beehive hype, let me set the record all the way straight. This album wasn't just hyped, it was legit. It got to the top spot at the 25 end-of-year rankings from various outlets, so yeah, it was definitely fire all around. But let's talk about the Grammys. Beyonce scored 9 nominations, including Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Song of the Year. When those nominations came out, it was pretty obvious that she was gonna rack up up some more golden gramophones. But people were hoping that she might even smash the record for the most Grammys ever won by one person, which stood at 32. At that point, Beyonce was tied for second place with Quincy Jones, who both had 28 awards each. So all she had to do was get at least 3 more to make history. And not only did she meet the mark, she smashed it, baby, walking away with 4 Grammys, bringing her total to 32. Like, seriously, where does she even keep all these awards? I bet good money she's got a whole room just for them, B's Grammy room. But even with this, the fact that Beyonce didn't win any of one of the 3 major categories had a lot of people feeling upset. Last year, Harry Styles won Album of the Year for his album Harry's House, and people dragged him and the Grammys because a lot of people felt like Beyonce deserved it more. Listen, it's been a year since that happened, and he still gets hate whenever people remember how it went down. Yeah, he got dragged for filth, and people dumped on his music, like this person who tweeted, "Rolling Stone named him the new king of pop. His music is very mediocre. I heard someone do a cover of As It Was, and it sounded better than the original. If his music was a seasoning, it would be flour disguised as powdered sugar." Listen, everybody was singing As It Was to everywhere, all over TikTok, and way better than Harry. But the fact is that Beyonce's 4th time losing Album of the Year had fans talking about how she has been blackballed by the Grammys because she's a black woman. It started to feel like the Grammys will award her as many awards as possible, except the coveted ones, even when she deserves them. And she's not the only black woman who has been treated this way by the Grammys, because they did the same thing to Nicki. Do y'all even know how crazy it is that Nicki Minaj has never won a Grammy, even though she is debatably the greatest female rapper of our time and one of the greatest rappers ever, period? Now, I know that Nicki can be very controversial, and she always somehow manages to get into some type of drama in the days leading up to the Grammys. Last year, it was her drama with Lotto, and this year it was her versus Meg Thee Stallion. But drama or no drama, love Nicki or hate her, you can't deny that she is still one of the greatest female rappers in history. So for her not to have a Grammy at this point in her career is just daylight robbery, and there's no other way to put it. After Beyonce lost out on Album of the Year last year, Jay-Z gave a rare interview where he spoke out about how unfair it all was. He made some solid points about how Beyonce deserved to win Album of the Year, saying, "Look at what it's done to the culture. Look how the energy of the world moved. They play her whole album in the club. Every remix is amazing. Everyone's inspired. It has inspired the world. It's inspiring creativity. When it comes to inspiring creativity, that's an album. That has to be an Album of the Year. It has to be." He then slammed the Grammys for being biased towards Beyonce, saying, "The truth is, we grew up wanting to be on the Grammys, and it was our goal. We just want them to get it right. That's what we want. Obviously, it's music and it's all subjective, but you got to be in the ballpark. That's all we want. We just want them to get it right because we love it so much. We grew up watching Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder, and Stevie Wonder won 3 out of 4 years in a row." Now, when it comes to Beyonce, it's not even a secret that the Grammys are genuinely biased against her. This isn't a conspiracy theory, because several Academy voters have even come out to admit that they deliberately didn't vote for Beyonce, even though they genuinely believed that she deserved to win. But they chose not to vote for her because of personal biases, and they felt like she wins too much. So yeah, the people are big mad, but the anger is justified because according to an article by Variety, a couple of Grammy voters admitted to purposefully not voting for her, even though they know that she deserves the vote. One voter, who is a Grammy-winning producer engineer and has been a voter for almost 20 years, said, "I felt very strongly that Lizzo has changed this culture a lot. About Damn Time was a great track that everyone responded to. I also look at who's been there and go, okay, Adele, Beyonce, they always win. It's the same people over and over again. So I went for Lizzo." So the reason this person didn't vote for Beyonce was that he didn't want her to win because she's always been winning? That's not the criterion. This just makes us question how objective the whole process is supposed to be. And hence, it's not as objective as it claims. But that's not the only voter, because another voter said, "With Beyonce, the fact that every time she does something new, it's a big event, and everyone's supposed to quake in their shoes, it's a little too pretentious." Again, this person didn't vote for Beyonce because she's a big artist with a loyal fan base. His vote had nothing to do with the quality of her music and anything related to her music. music. He just didn't like the fact that people go wild over Beyonce, and she has a strong fan base. Is it just me, or is it giving very much hateration in this dancery? And we know what Mary said about that. But that's not all, y'all, because this other voter threw shade at Beyonce, saying Brandy's album is maybe the only one that has real musicians. The credit list on that album is not 8,000 people. 3 people made that record, plus the band, and that's it. So a lot of people have been throwing shade at Beyonce over the fact that the songs on Renaissance had a lot of names in the credits. The reason for this is that Beyonce did her due diligence and credited every person who was involved in the project, down to the last person. Now, if you changed a single word or tempo or whatever on the song, she's gonna add your name to the list. And that's why there are so many names. And that's why she has never been sued for stuff like that, unlike a lot of other artists. Now, there has been talk, but there hasn't been no suing. So in addition to being blackballed by the Grammys, Beyonce also faces a lot of hate from the voters. And again, this just proves that the Grammys are not being fair. It's giving a little bit of rigged. But somebody commented, Beyonce doesn't need the Grammy, but it clearly doesn't make any sense for an album as critically acclaimed as hers to not win Album of the Year, especially when you read the article of voters explaining why they voted the way they did, not even considering the quality of the music. And this other person tweeted, Renaissance not winning Album of the Year is another example of how a black woman can consistently deliver excellence, reinvent the wheel, plus shake the culture, and still not be recognized to the extent that she deserves. I hope Beyonce realizes that her music is more important than a Grammy. So when Beyonce got up on stage to speak on the issue, y'all better know that a conversation was had on the way back from the Grammys last year, and it has continued to be a constant topic in the Carter family since then. Also, is it just me, but does this kind of remind anybody else of a situation with Kanye and Taylor Swift at the VMAs in 2009?
Music, so thank you so much for giving me a chance to win a VMA award.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
I still can't be mad at Kanye for that, but he even doubled down on his comments backstage.
Flawless Beyonce video. And Beck needs to respect artistry, and he should have given his award to Beyonce.
I'm not gonna hate on Taylor, but she does give gowns, beautiful gowns. Also, I still be singing, shake it off, shake it off. But we've come full circle since that moment. Anyways, well, people have been saying a lot of things about Jay-Z for standing up for Beyonce, and they've been tweeting stuff like, Jay-Z using this moment to drag the Grammys for his wife during Black History Month is such a powerful statement. Having 33 Grammys and crying for more is the greed God was talking about in the Bible. And Jay-Z's speech is basically what Kanye West has been trying to say all these years about. He just articulated himself way better at the Grammys. But what do y'all think about the Grammys? Is Beyonce really getting blackballed, or is she just being greedy, wanting more? Drop your thoughts and comments below, and then check out this next video.